You ever watch a disaster unfold in slow motion, knowing exactly what's coming, but powerless to stop it? That's what this whole mess felt like. That and a little like watching your neighbor set fire to your own barn while arguing it's for the good of the community. I still hear those words sharp as glass. This is all your fault. You caused this fire. I warned you, Karen. You're not supposed to dig on this land. Look what you've caused. People lost their lives because of you. No one deserved what happened. No one. But when folks make decisions out of arrogance, especially when they're swinging around borrowed power, sometimes it's the innocent who pay the tab. So let me back up a bit. My name's not important, but you should know I'm a farmer. Old school family roots running deep in this county. I own several parcels land that's been in our blood since before there were paved roads, let alone HOAs. These days my life is mostly quiet roosters before dawn diesel. In the air boots muddy by breakfast. Nothing fancy. Just honest work and a schedule set by the seasons. But there's a catch. Some of my property butts right up against a gated HOA that sprouted up like a fungus after a wet spring. The irony. My family bought most of this ground back when nobody wanted it, before developers, before rules posted every 5 feet, before someone could fine you for grass an inch too long. I've survived more HOA presidents than I care to count. Most of them harmless, a little nosy, maybe annoying with their newsletters and lawn notes, but manageable. And then Karen showed up. Clipboard designer, shades the whole 9 yards. She strutted in like she'd been appointed queen by the state barking orders, inventing fines, measuring lawns with a ruler. Trash cans a minute late ticket. Fence paint faded ticket. I wish I was joking. Folks learned to fear the sound of her heels on the sidewalk. But Karen wasn't satisfied with just rules. She wanted power control and, most dangerous of all, attention. I didn't realize how bad it would get until the morning the ground itself started to shake. It was early, real early, before sunrise when most folks are still dreaming. I stepped onto my porch, coffee in hand, and felt the tremor before I heard it, heavy machinery roaring in the distance. Out past the fence line where the mist hangs low, I saw the blinking hazard lights and orange vests. They were chewing into my field like it was up for grabs at a county auction. I walked over mud sticking to my boots, heart pounding, anger simmering. There were HOA board members out there, branded vests and all looking like they'd just discovered gold. They said Karen had authorized them to dig, claimed it was for a new community reservoir. Emergency powers, they said. No permit, no letter. Just a heads up in the form of a backhoe. I pointed at my signs, private property, bright as a circus tent. This is deeded land, I told them. You're trespassing. You need to stop right now. They laughed. One guy probably knew, said, "Come on, don't be that guy," like I was the unreasonable one. Now, I'm not stupid. I know land and I know what runs under it. I've walked those fence lines with my granddad, hammered in posts with my father, and placed those warning markers myself for a reason. You see, about 10 feet beneath that field is an old oil transfer line, still active, still pressurized. There are easements, legal protections, and a stack of government paperwork taller than a fence post that says you do not under any circumstances dig there without professional oversight. But Karen, she saw a patch of open ground and thought, why not? I tried to reason with her over the phone. She was all charm and teeth, telling me to calm down and let progress happen. Progress. That word again. I told her straight, you dig here, you're flirting with disaster. She brushed me off. Sounded almost amused. The community voted, she said. We need water. Your land is finally useful. I walked the line, literally looking at survey flags that had been moved, warning signs, trampled boundaries, ignored. I could feel it in my gut. Something worse than a property dispute was brewing. The machinery kept roaring. I killed the engines myself, stood right in front of the rig till the operator cut power, probably just glad to have a break. I told the crew no more. Not one more inch. They looked at me like I'd lost it, but agreed to go talk to Karen in person. So I drove straight to the HOA office. Karen sat behind a wall of glass, sipping coffee like a monarch. I explained calmly that this wasn't just a trespass, it was criminal negligence. If something happened, people could die. She waved me off again, said, HOA authority supersedes farmer paranoia. I reminded her this wasn't about property values or neighborly squabbles. This was about safety, about not blowing half the county sky high. She promised to review, whatever that means, and said work would continue in the meantime. I left boiling, but I'm not the type to lose my head. I documented everything, took pictures, sent emails. Called my lawyer, filed official notices. Figured the paper trail would at least buy time. That weekend I had to head across the county to check on another property. Couldn't be everywhere at once. I left Friday uneasy but hopeful that common sense would win out. By Sunday, everything had changed. Driving back, the radio started buzzing something about a fire on the outskirts, evacuations underway. My gut dropped. I punched the gas, flying down county roads as a column of black smoke rose over the fields, my fields. Sirens screamed past as I turned onto my road. When I finally pulled up, I could barely process the scene. Firefighters everywhere, hoses snaking through scorched grass, flames licking at machinery, the air thick with burning fuel. Neighbors were crying, filming, shouting. I shoved through the crowd, yelling my name. I'm the landowner. They waved me past the tape, and there it was. The borehole twisted, leaking, blackened. 2 people didn't make it out. 4 more were hurt badly. The air was thick with fear and disbelief. Karen nowhere to be found. But her name floated everywhere on everyone's lips. Reporters showed up before the smoke even cleared, sticking microphones in faces, snapping pictures, looking for someone to blame. I stuck to the facts. I'd warned them. I had proof. The fire officials confirmed what I'd feared. Someone hit the pipeline. The line ruptured. Pressure did the rest. The drill rig looked like a mangled toy. As night fell, the fire finally died. I stood there staring at the blackened earth. My warnings turned to ashes. My neighbors' faces reflecting the cost of arrogance. Karen was nowhere near the carnage. She probably slept soundly that night, tucked in behind her security gate. The investigation came down like a Montana winter, slow at first, then all-consuming. State inspectors, fire marshals, pipeline engineers, detectives, they all showed up, picking through the mess, taking statements, logging every warning and every email. They matched my maps to the easements, matched the borehole's depth to the rupture point. The facts weren't just on my side, they were carved into the dirt. Karen tried to spin the story, blame the contractor, blame the weather, even tried to pin it on my aggression. That fell apart quick when the board's own messages came out, telling crews to ignore the signs and work through the night. The other board members folded first, trading truth for lighter sentences. They confessed pressure threats, backroom deals. The charges stacked up: trespass, criminal negligence, even involuntary manslaughter. The courtroom was a cold place, families grieving, cameras everywhere, silence that pressed on your chest. I took the stand, told my story once, plain and simple. No drama, just the truth. The jury watched as Karen shrank from tyrant to defendant, her power slipping away with every verdict. She went to prison, no fanfare, no supporters. Her bank accounts were emptied, assets sold to pay restitution to the families, to cover medical bills, to help clean up the land. The HOA gone, dissolved in a mess of audits, lawsuits, and angry neighbors. New leadership rose, rules rewritten, humility forced into the bylaws. My fields didn't heal overnight, but they healed. Soil remediated, markers replaced, trust rebuilt, slow as spring thaw, but real. And what did I learn? Accountability matters. Power without knowledge is just a drill with no brakes. Eventually it'll find the one thing it can't handle, and there'll be hell to pay. The ground remembers. So do the folks who live on it. Memorials went up, names spoken out loud at county meetings. Safety drills became routine. I started funding scholarships for the victims' families, not out of guilt but respect. We resurveyed every pipeline, mapped every line, made sure nobody would ever accidentally forget again. Tragedy doesn't balance out. No verdict brings back a life. But at least this time the ones responsible face the music. That's justice, or karma, call it what you will. I still farm, I still post warning signs, and I still believe in hard lessons. Sometimes the ground has to speak loud for folks to listen. Now tell me this, do you think Karen got what she deserved? Or was the price too high? Have you ever seen power go to someone's head so far they couldn't see the wreckage they left behind? I'd love to hear your thoughts or your own stories down below. Let's talk about what justice really means, where the line falls between standing up and backing down, and how we keep communities safe from people who just won't listen. Drop your story in the comments, share your take on right, wrong, and what you'd have done differently. This isn't just my story, it could be anyone's. And maybe, just maybe, if enough of us pay attention, it won't happen again.